Ooh, welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now, let's see if I can pronounce this right, Asif Akbar. Is that
You got
correct?
it. Yeah, you
Awesome.
got it.
Perfect. And he is the director of three movies that are coming out. One is already out, if I'm not mistaken, Mojave Diamonds. And then
Yeah, it just came out.
Absolutely. And we have also MR9 and Boneyard, which we're going to get into as well. So I'm so excited to get into these. How are you doing, Asif?
I'm doing well, Scotty. Thank you, and thanks for having me on. And excited to have a chat.
Absolutely. Just so everyone knows, I just explained to Asif before we went before I started recording. I don't have light over on this part of my and my office is still a little renovated, so I'm gonna be getting darker as it gets nighttime because it's 8 o'clock over here Eastern time. So I'm gonna be getting darker as the sun keeps going down. But I do have a couple of questions for you. The first one is more of a refresher from the last time I had you on the show because this is your second time here. And just for
Mhm.
anybody that hasn't seen the first interview, or just to remind people who have, how did you get your start into filmmaking?
Oh man, I started filmmaking basically from when I was a kid. Around 10, 11 years old. I picked up a little handy cam home video camera and went and shot things with my friends just for fun, during our free time. And we would make little short films and content, and that sprung into me making professional content from the age of 16. I was always kind of into the liberal arts and performing. I was a child actor growing up, did theater, did some modeling, did some TV work, and, dabbled into acting. And then I started realizing that I wanted to tell my own stories and be more hands on in actually making the films behind the scenes. And I was always into writing. So it all kind of sprung together throughout my childhood into my teenage years, and then that became part of my education. But I was already working professionally in my teenage years, and side by side, I took the educational path and got my degree in filmmaking and everything as well. But I was always making movies, always making something for an audience. And just the platforms started getting bigger and bigger. The films and the production, they started elevating more, all around. So now, it's been a long road, but I feel like I'm just getting started, and, I'm excited for what's to come. And I've been very blessed to be able to do some of the movies that I've been able to do the last few years. And again, it's been about elevating, to the bigger and better movies, to where we're able to, um, you know, utilize bigger resources and budgets to be able to tell those stories a little bigger, and also to work with some great legendary cast and talent that I've been blessed to work with. It's been a exciting ride.
Absolutely. And three of those movies we have Mojave Diamonds, MR9, and Boneyard. So what can you tell us about all three of those films?
They're all different. Um, they're all different. And then I also have another film in there coming out, called Skeletons in the Closet, that we
Okay.
just delivered. That's with Terrence Howard and Cuba Gooding Jr., Udo Kier. That's a paranormal horror film,
Okay.
so that's a horror film there. And then we have Mojave Diamonds, which is a throwback to the 80s, 90s action flick with, UFC stars, turning into actors that are just kicking ass. It's just a fun ride action film. And then you have Boneyard, which, we have in Boneyard, we had Mel Gibson and 50 Cent, which was amazing to work with. And that's a thriller inspired from true events, about a serial killer. And then, MR9 is a international spy action thriller based on a spy novel series, kind of like an Asian James Bond. And that has a really nice, group of international cast, along with Frank Grillo, Michael J. White, ABM Sumon playing, MR9, and along with some Indian actors and Chinese actors. So it's another fun different films. So I've been just blessed to be able to make all these diverse,
Nice.
genre films, and working my way up still, and learning every day. That's the most important thing. I'm getting bigger and
Absolutely.
better as a filmmaker with,
Hmm.
obviously the amazing talent I'm getting to work with, and the people around me, the team, along with just being a student to this industry every day. Every
Yeah.
day I wake up, I learn something about life and my work in general.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the one thing I love about your movies is that they do have a diverse cast. Like it's not just like all one race or all one, ethnicity.
Right.
It brings a whole diverse set of talent to your films, and that's amazing because I mean, and speaking of that, because you mentioned about working on with bigger budgets and everything like that, and obviously you need to have a big budget when you have people like 50 Cent and Mel Gibson, attached
Yeah,
to your
and the
project.
diversity ranges. I mean, it's not just because I'm forcing the diversity of the
Hmm.
races and the type of actors and people we have and the stories. I mean, it's just reality. I mean, I try to
Yeah.
base my stories and films kind of more reality based, and even like, MR9, which is uh, based off of a novel series that was published, 60 years ago.
Mhm.
We modernized it, and in today's time and society, the reality is there's a lot of diversity all
Yep.
around and everything, and so naturally that becomes part of the story and what
Yeah.
fits with the casting.
Yep.
And so I think we're just kind of in a really interesting time and phase
Yeah.
of our times of
Yeah.
making movies, to where it's not really an agenda of mine to only make diverse
Mhm.
stories and films. It's just naturally that's where we are as
Yep.
people right now in time.
Absolutely. Now, I know Mojave Diamonds. I believe that one was the one that is. I'm not sure if all the others are, but that one is by Lionsgate. So with it being a bigger budget through that company, what do you believe is the hardest part with having a bigger budget compared to like say creating a lower budget independent type of movie?
Well, the bigger the budgets, the bigger the film, the bigger the risk it
Hmm.
becomes. The stakes are higher. There's more pressure from, you know I guess you can say more armchair generals and just more people involved and more chefs in the kitchen, which sometimes can be good and bad. But with the bigger films, obviously, there's a formula that you have to stick to and follow. And, there's the pressure of not, like, maybe making, um, certain elements properly. I mean, you have certain guidelines and
Hmm.
timeframes and budgets to work with, and you have to just make sure all the elements
Yeah.
are always precisely working out, and you're being watched. On the smaller films, you get to experiment a little bit more. You can think outside the box a little bit. You
Hmm.
can push boundaries. So that's, I guess, the difference between the studios and the independents, right? But
Right.
they both have their pros and cons. As an artist, sure, it's great to do the independence, but for the business side of it, obviously, it's very refreshing also to be able to work under a studio and for a studio, and to deliver to a studio where there are certain guidelines and standards, just
Yeah.
make you better, yeah, at the end of the day as a filmmaker. And also,
Absolutely.
you have to realize, I mean, we are artists, but at the end of the day, this is a business. We're making a product for an audience, for a distributor, for a buyer. And so it's not really all about us. We have to make a movie for other people. And
Yeah.
so, I have to cater as a filmmaker. My job is to cater to the audience, to the buyers, to the distributors, to everyone else but myself. But at the same time, I have to make something I believe in, and also have fun doing myself, and feel like that I'm making something that will satisfy my audiences, and
Right.
so that's what satisfies me, is knowing that I'm able to entertain the people I'm making the film for. And you're never going to be able to make everyone happy 100%, but
Absolutely.
all it takes is that few that just enjoys it, and that's what it's
Yeah.
about.
Absolutely. And a lot of people fail to realize that even though it's fun to make a movie, it can be stressful, but it's also fun, be an
Yeah,
actor and all
very
that.
stressful.
very stressful.
And it should be fun. That's the thing at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And it
and
is. If
but
you
a lot
love
of
it, that's the only way you can do it.
right, and a lot of people don't realize though that it's also a job. It's how you're supporting your family. You know, it's
Right.
that your quote unquote 9 to 5, so to speak. Except sometimes you don't have 8 hours on set. You have 16 or 12.
Yeah,
Like
sometimes 24/7 too,
sometimes
depending on what you
24/7.
need.
Exactly.
As a
Especially
director, I'm bringing the work home until
absolutely.
done.
Absolutely. And I've been there just on the independent scene and just doing it from on my own, where I'm doing everything from the writing to the producing to the acting to the editing. You know, you actually have a team, and it sometimes that can be even more stressful because some people are telling you to do it this way, other people are telling you to do it that way. You
Right,
know,
and it's a big thing of it is management, leadership of a team. Like you said, that's the key. You're working with a big a number of people and a big team, and a lot of people don't realize film is probably the most collaborative art form there
yeah,
is. You have such a big team and everyone matters, and I'm one of those filmmakers that are very hands-on throughout every
mhm,
process and phase of the
yeah,
filmmaking, phases. But at the same time, I like to have people I can trust and rely on around me that are also, as I believe, as good as me or better than me, so we can all, do the best we can as a whole group, as one, as a team. And that's another thing I love about this work is that you have people you can work with like that.
right,
It's a teamwork, and
absolutely,
at the end of the day, we make magic happen. Every film is a miracle, and just to be able to do what we do, it's a blessing.
yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say is your most favorite part about being a filmmaker? Would it be the writing, the editing, just the directing in general? Is there a favorite part of the directing?
Um, I would say the entire process is different in every stage. I certainly like being hands-on on set because that's where you really capture what you're going to be molding into the
Yep.
final product. But obviously that's exciting because you're able to really create there, of what you're capturing in the frame and the camera, to be able to then later obviously take it into post, which is another fun phase where you see it all come alive
Yep.
and come together for the final product that's going to go on screen. And to assemble that, it's very time consuming, and you have to
Mhm.
have a lot of patience. So that's a long process.
Yep.
But being on set and that adrenaline rush of having to race against the clock and to have all these challenges to overcome and
Mhm.
capture what you need to on screen to create that vision on the spot. I think that's a thrill that most filmmakers and crew and people that work on set just in general can't get enough of at the
Right.
end of the day. It's like almost like, being an athlete and, you getting to be able to go out in the field or in the ring to be able to, do your show and perform. And
Mhm.
so the set is where we get to all perform, not just the
Mhm.
actors, but the directors and producers and every
Yep.
crew member. I
Yep.
mean, that's our performance stage where we perform to bring this to life. And then obviously, we put all the icing on the cake later on during the
Yep.
post and everything else. And then after that, the marketing and release is another phase, which is fine because you get to see it not only come alive, but to see it live and have that life and the birth of it into the world,
Yeah.
which is another amazing process. And but at the end of the day, it also all starts with the script, right? So
Yep.
that's a fun process too, is to conceive
Mhm.
the idea and put it
Yep.
on paper and to see that right out. That's another, could be a long
Yeah.
process and you need to have the patience. But again, back to where being on set would probably take the number one spot just because of that adrenaline rush
Yeah.
and the energy, high energy you get. But
Right.
it's just anything else that's tiring and it's work.
Mhm.
It's you got to
Yep.
love it to do it.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize that because when they watch a movie, they see the actors. And they might say, well, how does this movie get made? Well, there's a director, there's producers and all that stuff, and there's a writer and all that. But they don't realize of all the cast that's really of importance, because everybody, like we said, it's a team. And there's
Yeah.
important crew members, from the drivers that pick, do the airport runs and all that stuff. There's
Oh,
the
absolutely.
there's the caterers that feed the cast and
Yeah,
crew.
I mean, people don't realize if the caterer is late
Yep.
by even a minute, that's big trouble. Time is money on a set, and
Mhm.
time could cause the sun to go down, and now you don't have that perfect sunset shot that you needed, or
Yep.
scene that you needed to finish during the day, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But every little thing on a set and person and event, it
Yep.
works like a domino effect, and it
Mhm.
matters. One little second off, but someone
Yep.
not being able to pick up someone from the airport properly, or get an actor to the set on time properly, can cause a huge domino effect that could be huge, costly financially and artistically. So it's very important. Everyone's
Yep.
got to be on their A game, and that's one of the good things about having the studio system films
Yep.
and the higher independent films, is to be able to manage a proper standard across the board. And
Yes.
obviously every production is stressful. The bigger they get, the more stressful it gets too. But
Mhm.
the problems start to get bigger, then you can kind of eliminate some of the smaller issues and worry about the bigger issues. And but at the end of the day, you gotta, like we were saying, have to have fun and enjoy being under that pressure and being in that environment, and being able to do that hard work and enjoy it. Otherwise, it's not for everyone. I mean, if it
Yeah.
was that easy, everyone would be doing it. There's
Yeah.
a lot of sacrifices and struggles that come with it, and at the end of the day, we enjoy it. This is what we
Yeah.
signed up for.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, the next question is going to be a two-parter, but it's pretty much the same question, just worded differently. So, Mojave Diamonds is already out. So, where can that be viewed? Like, if you want to see this movie, where can the audience see it? And then for MR9 and Boneyard, when and where can that be viewed? Because I know they aren't out yet.
Um, yeah, so uh, Mojave Diamonds is currently out on DVD and digital, and anywhere you can see VOD. It's also releasing in multiple different countries internationally, in different territories. It's going to probably come to streaming in a few months, but you can definitely get it on Amazon, Apple, all those places right now.
Okay.
Um, Boneyard is set for, I think, sometime next year, spring or so. But Lionsgate is handling that, so
Okay.
we'll be delivering it end of the year, and we'll see what happens. But MR9, it's looking like a end of August theatrical release
Okay.
coming up. So we're just now busy wrapping up some of these other things, and I'm looking at some other scripts, and we'll see where the rest of the year takes us.
Awesome. And speaking of that futuristic approach, the last question I got for you, do you have any other film projects you want to promote? Any social media accounts, websites, anything at all that you would like to promote to the listening and the viewing audience?
Um, I'm not too active on social media all the time, but you can catch me on Instagram, Facebook. My IMDb, has a lot of the projects that I'm involved with as a producer, director, writer, and things that are coming up, and things that have come out. Most of it's all usually available, anywhere you can stream movies, anywhere you can buy DVDs. So um, most of my announcements and up to date stuff come out, usually on my Facebook or
Okay.
Instagram things. So just stay tuned. Lots of exciting stuff coming up.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Asif, for joining me this evening.
Thank you, Scotty. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, just everybody follow Slasher Scotty on all the social media accounts. Of course, this is if you're watching this on YouTube, the video version, you can like, subscribe, and comment, share on social media. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any other audio platform listening to this, you can do the same, rate, like, comment, share on social media. And of course, I'm on Cameo, so you can give your Father's Day's coming up if you want anything for a Cameo, birthday, anniversary, or if you're in a relationship and it's not going the way you want to end the relationship, but you're afraid to do it, I'll do it for you. So just, give me a shout out and let me book me a cameo. And my books by forward from Jamie Lee Curtis, The Ultimate Halloween Movie Experience. Check that out on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold. And then of course I got my Funko Pop right here from Slasher Scotty, which is coming out shortly. I'm waiting. I just filled out the paperwork, so I'm waiting for that to come out, so you can get that as well. But thank you, Asif, so much for joining me. Anybody that wants to see where these movies are coming out, check out Asif's social media accounts. Check out on all the platforms that he mentioned, and of course, for any future projects that he is coming out. If you're watching this, say a year from now, check it out at his IMDb, and you can see whatever he has coming out. And I hope to have you back on again soon. All right.
Thank you, Scotty.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. Bye bye.